We're starting our project so that we can learn how to paint in Photoshop. We're actually going to be creating a comic book cover, and I have provided you all with a template that is a common size that we're going to be able to use. This file is set up so that's the correct size that you need. So you're going to notice the size is 8¼ inches by 10¾ inches, and it's 150 dpi. So we are going to be able to come in here and make sure that this file is set up so that we can actually use it to paint. So once we are completed with setting this file up, you are welcome to delete this template. So let's talk about a few things that'll help you in getting started. So the first thing is we've got a trim line and a margin line. So the trim line is the red area, and that trim line is basically approximately 1/4 inch all the way around. So it's approximately 1/8 of an inch on each side. Okay, so with that said, when we print this, if we were to ever print it professionally, we have to factor in that they may be off by approximately 1/8 of an inch. Now the margin area is a similar concept. This is basically a little bit of breathing room. And again, you do always want to factor in that there may be some margin of error. So this is approximately 1/4 of an inch on each side, which equates to approximately 1/2 inch all the way around of space. So with that said, we want to make sure that when we design our comic book cover, there's nothing important that shows up in this outer area that is the margin or the trim line. And the best way to do that is to make sure we have visual guides. So we're just going to talk about setting up our guides and accessing our rulers. So with that said, we have covered rulers before, but we'll just make sure it's set up correctly on your end and that you know how to view them. So if you have not ensured they are visible, you can go to View and then the shortcuts Command R, or you can choose right here, Rulers. Once that is activated, you should notice whatever measurements are showing up. Now it's usually going to default to whatever the last measurement is that you used. So you do want to make sure that you double check, and we are working on a print project, so it is going to be important that we measure things in inches for this project. With that said, we also want to understand how to actually create guides. So with guides, they are going to act as a visual cue for us to make sure we stay inside of these boundaries. Obviously, we don't want to sit here hiding and showing that layer all day, although it's useful to have there. It's going to be a lot more helpful to have these guides. So the way that we draw these guides or create them is basically click on this ruler, and once we click and start dragging, a guide pulls down. Okay, so you're just going to pull it right in place, and if it's off, you're going to want to move it, so you just click and drag and it moves wherever you need it. It's the same thing over on the left side. You can drag out this guide wherever you need it. And then you'll just scroll over to the other side of your document and do the same thing. And click and drag until they're all in place. Okay, and then we do have the same thing on the very bottom. And you do want to just double check and make sure you're zoomed in enough so that they're close to where they need to be. And then we just drag that last one and we should be good. Command 0 is going to zoom all the way out for us so we can see everything that's in our canvas. And now we can just basically hide that layer and it's visible. And so as we paint, we can make sure that we stay in these areas. Now you do want to make sure that the artwork does bleed into the margin and trim area. Just do not put any logos, any headlines, any major typography, or anything that's not meant to be like a background or a less than important piece of information from your cover. Now you may find that these guides may become annoying and you might not want to look at them the entire time that you're painting. So I do want to just point out that you can go to Show and then turn this guides off and then they go away. And then at any point you can just come right on back. Now shortcuts are going to save you, so you do want to make sure that you know how to turn them on and off. So it's just Command semicolon is the shortcut for that. So if you forget the shortcut, just come right back to this menu and know that they're right there for you at any point to be able to show or hide them so that you have everything set up so that you can begin painting. And we will learn a lot more about painting as we go, but we do want to make sure this file is set up properly. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time painting in a file that's not set up correctly. So hopefully that helps out, and I look forward to showing you all a lot more.